So as we start to talk about eating like a local, it all kind of starts right here in our local farms, supporting our local restaurants. But without knowing what we're eating and where it's coming from, are we truly eating like a local? I don't know. Today, we'll talk about this. We're at Atkinson Farms up in Spring, Texas. There's local farms all around our area. We have such a beautiful bread basket of local products. It's just finding them, supporting them, eating what they grow seasonally. It's a beautiful time of year. Let's talk about it, all right? I don't even like blackberries, so that's good. We're out here in Spring, Texas, Atkinson Farms. Longtime family harvesting produce from around here. They've got 60 acres right in the middle of Spring, Texas that has homes all the way around it. Could have been easy to sell this whole thing a long time ago, but they've held on to it. It's a pretty cool story.
This is the main farm. Our store is here, our storefront's on the farm. Everyone lives here on the farm. And my great-grandpa bought the land we're standing on today back in 1961. And ever since the day he bought it, he started farming it, and we've been farming it ever since.
I've been working with you guys for a very long time.
I would say over 20 years. We were the very first restaurant customer we ever had. We do 4 farmers markets every weekend, and you met us there at Urban Harvest.
There was something for me at the very beginning. You know, I drove a truck, and it was like, I'm going to fill the truck.
Right.
Because if I'm standing here, how can I not buy these for my guests tonight?
Right.
I mean, how can I not? And then when they say, these are the best tomatoes I've ever had, I was like, well, yeah, I picked them up this morning, farmer's market with Atkinson. I feel that if I'm gonna use a squash when it's in season, it should come from where I'm at. I mean, we're in Spring, 34 minutes from downtown.
Correct.
And to have my tomatoes that are picked by you guys the day before, if not the day of.
Absolutely.
And brought down.
A lot of produce companies, if you sell wholesale, they got to be up to temperature. Our produce a lot of times gets picked that morning. We don't put it in a cooler. It never gets in there. It gets literally picked and delivered straight to the restaurant that day. Some of the restaurant stuff literally is on the restaurant tables was growing that morning.
That is the beauty of this, especially when you talk about tomatoes, right? Because you don't want tomatoes to hit the cooler. You want it to go from here to my speed rack that's sitting, you know, next to the kitchen, and it's what makes tomatoes perfect.
All of our homegrown tomatoes we harvest vine ripe this color when they come off the vine, so they're getting their full flavor.
Because when we're talking what vine ripened from grocery store, it's basically just green.
Picked green, gassed in a chamber, and make them change color. So they're forced to be red. Yeah.
They don't develop
naturally.
the flavor from the earth.
That's correct.
On the
sitting on the bush is what gets the flavor for the age of the tomato.
So you want delicious tomatoes, bell peppers, cucumbers, dill, kale, mustards, collards, all that stuff. Right. This is where you're coming.
Seasons change, we change. The items you see here are more of the summertime items. Yeah. But starting September, that's when we'll start preparing the farm for the fall crops. Then it comes to the September, that's when we start the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, the cauliflower, carrots, beets. All of that stuff gets planted in September for the fall winter crop. Mother's Day, blackberries is usually a rule of thumb. Strawberries, we usually start at the beginning of the year. Somewhere around January, they'll start here and there. You're finding berries because they get planted in October. And then we try, our heavy part of the season is March, April.
That's when they're really,
and then
really
May kind of tapers off.
Things people don't understand. Citrus is fall, strawberries are winter.
Typical public doesn't understand the seasons of the fruits. We give tours on the farm. We do little train rides where the kids can actually see the farm firsthand. We'll let them know what's growing, how it's growing, and you can also come in and buy straight from the store. Every morning we restock it with fresh picked produce.
You guys are the reason why we have delicious things, because if we didn't have people like you and your dad, your wife, your mom, your whole family, what would we eat? And your team has been with you for 20, 30 years.
My team has been at Atkinson Farms for the most part of 20 years. We hire a lot of high school kids that come in and want summer jobs or weekend jobs.
This is a hard first job right?
It is, but
it's rewarding. You can teach your kids, you can teach your family. Like, this is a job. It's a passion job.
A passion. You have to have a passion. What a lot of people never ever take into consideration, every one of these plants was a tiny, tiny seed. Yeah. That my mom, she controls the whole greenhouse. She does all of the planting all the watering. She takes care of it phenomenally. And she literally took every one of these plants, one seed at a time, and planted it. You always see the end result, but there's months and months and months of labor that went in before the harvest ever took place.
All right, let's go for a roll.
This patch of tomatoes here, Dad really keeps a close eye on it, being right out of his back door. My dad loves growing tomatoes. He's got a knack for it. His whole life he's grown tomatoes. He's got it figured out. You can pop and look at those tomatoes on the first row over.
How many there is. Start selling white bread Duke's mayonnaise out here. Let people make tomato sandwiches.
So this is kale here. This kale was planted early this year or late last year, and you'll see we're still harvesting.
So you're just cutting leaves off, and then they grow back?
Leave the heart. As long as you don't break the heart out of a collard or a kale, you strip the leaves, leave the stalk, and it'll continuously grow. Every single item is done by hand. Whether it's a squash, a tomato, kale, greens, it don't matter. It's all hand-picked.
But there's no one that just goes right down the middle of the aisle and just shreds it. It's you guys doing it with your hands. It's pretty amazing.
And we're coming into this week's blackberry crop.
You know, it's like you hit the row, and I always go, ooh. Just, ooh. And you're like, how it gets better? I'm like, ooh, I don't know.
The further you come into the farm, the more exciting it gets. If you look at them and the blackberry is shiny, it's still going to be a little tart. You look for one that's a little, I would say a little dull in color. If it's a little dull, it's going to be sweeter. Yeah, it's going to be super tart.
Gross.
You don't want to eat that. You don't want to eat a red blackberry.
No.
And
you know, it's funny because
some people think they're raspberries. See the little bit of purple on it still? That berry's going to be tart. It's not going to be terrible, but it's going to be tart. It's not going to have a
That's
real
good for
sweet.
pie.
Yeah.
These are delicious. Yeah, I've just consumed on this, little trail right here more blackberries than I have all year.
The only place you eat them is here.
Yeah. This is the only place that I want them. That's the best one I've had all day. Oh my God. That's delicious. That's delicious.
Yeah.
What a beautiful farm.
Peppers are real pretty here. Bell peppers.
Bells?
All bells. This is enjoyable picking too and harvesting stuff. When you can bend over and pick bell pepper like that, just awesome. Feel this pepper, Chris. Like feel the weight. And the firmness.
Come on, that thing is, that's 3/4 of a pound.
It's heavy. You can just look at the inside of that.
That's called yield, my friend.
Some gold beets and red beets right here. And like these are the calabacita squash and the yellow squash, and then we have zucchinis and the yellow zucchinis. Look at these berries here. Some real pretty berries. Try some of those. Better than the blackberries.
I mean, that's what you don't see at a grocery store, right?
It's red all the way through.
That color, that texture, that flavor.
When like the new sweet peppers, what I told you about, and the varieties of them. See, there's some colored peppers here, the red ones here. Kind of color change of the pepper. Starts off green and goes to brown, and then it's a little mixed color before it gets to the deep red sweet pepper.
Do you do these from seed?
All seed, yeah. Plant every tiny seed, Mom does. And then the sunflower you pick, we started it, and it really took off.
I mean, this is something like I know what to do with my niece and nephew now. Yeah. Like, hey man, let's go out to the farm, let's pick some blackberries, pick some sunflowers. And
some of those sunflowers are 10 feet tall. You can get lost in the meadow.
Send the kids in.
Yeah. Hopefully they come back out.
So we've been out here at Atkinson Farm, hanging out with Bobby, seeing everything that they're planting, knowing that it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year they're working. Why? It's passion. Now we're going to go over to another place that's very passionate about using this product. We're going to go see Dylan over at Local Foods. It's really beautiful to see somebody that will work through the harvest. Go check it out. Today on Eat Like a Local Foods. They are providing people delicious, nutritious food from local farms, supporting the community. Stuff that was picked yesterday is now on the table today. Why? Because it's what's right. They stick to what they're saying. Local foods, local farms, local people. Pretty amazing stuff.
There's a lot of different experiences within this.
Right, so you've got a full-service restaurant upstairs.
Correct.
You've got a boutique wine bar, which we're sitting in now.
Right, which Lee's done.
I love, big fan. And then downstairs, you've got local foods, which is, well, delicious restaurant. And then we're the coffee shop, and it's more of a retail?
That's LFM, or Local Foods Market.
Okay.
Where we combine retail elements with the coffee bar. And over there we have the full hotline, so we can execute more hot entree dishes that pair up with the sandwiches next door.
What got you into this?
So I was the chef at Benji's restaurant, working for Benji Levitt. Benji's wasn't fine dining, but it was higher end, full service dining, and
that restaurant was busy.
It was. We had a good time, but we both felt like doing something a little more casual, a little more approachable would be fun. And then Antone's Po' Boys next door had been there forever, 25 years or something. They closed, and the space was available. We knew we wanted a vehicle to showcase all the local farms that we were using, and I think you were using too, but we didn't feel like those places were getting enough press, enough notoriety, and so we wanted a platform to show off some of these great people and farms and ranchers. So this was the first one, but even after we had 3, I was still going to the market with my pickup on Saturdays, loading it up and physically delivering all these products. When we got to 4, it was game
impossible.
over.
It's impossible.
So they deliver now.
Local Foods basically just kind of works through a seasonal menu. You have standards that are there all the time, but then there's the things that just always are changing.
Absolutely. So there's the crunchy chicken sandwich is the top seller, and that's something that we couldn't change if we wanted to at this point.
No.
People expect it. That being said, we have, for instance, a harvest salad, and depending on when you come in, it's the spring, fall, summer.
The thing that I love about what you do when you start talking about using local farm, and quite frankly, it's so easy as a restaurant person just to, at the end of the night, pick up the phone, call your produce order in, and it shows up in the morning, and it's in a box, and it's here, boom, everything you need. What you're doing isn't as easy, keeping the area, I think, in mind, but you can see the impact of what you're doing.
Absolutely. To me, it's a win-win. Oftentimes, I will actually see our farmers sitting in our restaurants, dining, which they're paying that money forward back to us, but it's their product often that they're eating, and that's probably the best feeling there is. The word local's thrown around a lot, but at the end of the day, if they picked this stuff yesterday and they're delivering it to you today, it's fresher. It hasn't been on a truck and traveled 1,000 miles, and that, I think, shines through.
I mean, what you're doing here is pretty outstanding.
It's fun. The relationships also are a huge part of it. I mean, we know these folks and their families.
What farms are you using the most of?
So Atkinson in spring is without a question our biggest contributor. So tons of kale, tomatoes, squash, beets, strawberries, watermelon.
All of it.
They're the big boys for us. For meats, of course, we've done a lot with 44 Farms. Very local producer is Felix Flores at Falcon Lake Farms. He's our main pork provider.
Cool.
We just recently started getting all of our eggs from Swift Hill Farms, which is a young lady named Madeline, who I believe was a sous chef of yours back in the day. Treehouse Micro Farms, we get all our microgreens from them. Clint at Flying Saucer Farms does unbelievable mushrooms. Literally some of the best I've seen ever. Blue Horizon is where we get the vast majority of our seafood.
Which is literally right here.
I think Gulf seafood is highly underrated.
I do too.
I think the crab and the shrimp are as good as any other out there.
Yep. It's impressive. It's literally impressive. Well, you want to go downstairs?
Yeah,
Check it out. All right, one of the cool things about this place, you got wine upstairs, you got wine down here, but if you want to pick up something, coffee, ice cream, snacks, stuff for the house. Like, this is also a market. Crackers, cheeses, salamis, but they also focus in on a lot of product from local producers, polentas that are milled right outside of Austin, Texas product. I like it. I might buy some stuff today. All right, so we're sitting out on the patio, one of the multiple venues inside of this location to be able to dine in. Yeah. You kind of just put together a little spread of stuff that I think looks awesome. This is kind of just one-off for right now for the season, right?
Right. Just we started getting those Animal Farm squash blossoms in. We stuffed them with the Texas Mozzarella Company's goat cheese mozzarella. little nori crust on there, and a roasted pepper caper salsa. The salad, this is the harvest salad, which changes seasonally. This is the spring salad with the Atkinson beets, Atkinson strawberries, Brussels sprouts. Got some ninja radishes on there, some Texas herb goat cheese, and some of the little microgreens from Treehouse Farms.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that you sold me on this one when I look down and I see sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
Because I think the sunflower seed is the perfect contributor to the perfect salad.
And highly underrated, I think.
I agree. Crunch is awesome, which leads me into this crunch.
So this is the big boy for us, the crunchy chicken sandwich served on slow dough pretzel bun. It's been on the menu since day one. It's pretty straightforward. You got provolone cheese, roasted chicken, tomatoes, lettuce, homemade pickles, and a homemade ranch dressing. The crunch on this comes from the potato chips that we crunch up on the sandwich, as well as the nut crust from the original dish.
I mean, because you want chicken, but you also want crunch. And then just a killer looking tuna dish.
And then just a seasonal Gulf tuna, sesame crusted, the cucumber squash salad, also Atkinson Farms products there, little bonito flakes over the top, a little sweet and sour, hot.
Perfect. And then this is part of the market thing that I think is really awesome, is that you carry so much product in here. You got Juicewell, and so local company.
Local Houston purveyor of juices that we partnered up with.
And then they also do this, is this correct?
Right, seems like kind of a strange combo, but they are our sole source of gluten-free, the gluten-free option, which we're always looking for because it's hard to make a good gluten-free bread.
It really is.
So, but they figured out, rightly so, you put enough butter in it, it's going to taste pretty great.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like a sandwich on that. And then, look at these guys.
The Atkinson Farm strawberries, of course. Top of the season right now. That was in the field yesterday.
That's the amazing part, right? Yesterday on its plant, today in my face. Oh man, I bet you guys have all the options for every vegan and vegetarian dishes. And
we really want to be friendly to that clientele. We try and do riffs on familiar favorites. So we have a cashew-based vegan queso.
Nice.
It's been on the menu for a long time. We have a vegan Caesar at some of the locations. We have an excellent vegan carrot cake with a coconut frosting on it.
All right, what do I go with for it? Here?
Sure, go for it. You want to try one too?
You should. I mean, that's beautiful.
Held together nicely.
Oh, look at that. That's great looking. It's also flavorful, and I think the beauty of it is that it's so fresh and clean. I wouldn't be opposed to having this every day.
So we'll see you tomorrow.
I don't know, maybe.
These are really good.
They're good, right?
Not bad for flowers.
What to get at local foods? That's a tricky conversation because that menu always changes. They deal with so many local farms that they are just so innovative. Some of the standards though, the crunchy chicken sandwich, always amazing. The banh mi, absolutely. There's the house cured and smoked salmon everything bagel. What sounds awesome? The Texas Wagyu cheeseburger salad. Then the summer harvest salad, I'm in. All right, up next, we're going to head over to Urban Harvest Farmers Market. This is the place that kind of started it all for me.
So we're out at Urban Harvest Farmers Market Saturday morning from 8 to 12, right on Buffalo Speedway in Westheimer. Some of the best vendors in the city, from around the city. Everything comes within 180 miles. Think about that. Want to eat locally? This is how you do it. We talked to Atkinson Farms. Now they're out here pushing it. As far as farmers markets goes, there's a lot of them all throughout the city. And Atkinson's are probably, Mike, how many farmers markets you do? 4? 4. But this is, at Urban Harvest, the one that I come to and have for years. All right, while you're not busy right this minute, can I get some stuff from you?
What do you need? Come on. Hey.
As far as product goes, I got to do a dinner tonight, so I need to pick up stuff. Let's walk around here and check some stuff out.
So Urban Harvest is in its 30th year of existence in Houston. We were founded to teach classes in gardening, and we also had a network of community gardens throughout the city. Now we started the market. We're in our 20th year of operation, and we have a new program. It's our mobile market that goes out on the road and to communities that don't have access to healthy food, and it sources entirely from this market.
For this market, you don't just just take large farms?
We take everything. We actually have a corner where if you're a backyard gardener, you can participate on a flexible basis and just come when you have extra tomatoes from your harvest, and you can sell those. So
You got it all. You've got prepared foods, but you've got people making oyster, growing oyster mushrooms, and you've got produce vendors and bread makers and Cranky Juice Company.
Oh, they're great.
I like that. Las Pettis Cafe. Just had one of their coffees. I need another one. This stuff is delicious. So if you're out here, check it out.
So we roast our coffee ourselves. We make the syrup from scratch, and we're using specialty coffee from Colombia.
Awesome.
Yes,
I love iced coffees. Little farm stand up here. I'll plan it forward where it's like teaching refugees from the Congo how to farm. They have small plots of land all over the city. I have one of the farms right across the street from my house. Some of my old friends from Airline Seafood out here selling fresh fish, stone crabs that come out of our waters. Really beautiful. We hadn't seen them forever, and then about 4 or 5 years ago, they just started popping up all in our waters, and so now,
Stone crab, baby.
what you used to think about like going to Miami and Florida for stone crabs, we have in our local waters, which is amazing. You want some tilefish, you want snapper, you want that, this is where you come. One of these yogurts, and then Umberto yogurt I'll make for the dressing for a salad. Get out my bag. So these guys, Verde Greens, been producing greens for restaurants all over the city for quite some time. You definitely know when you're at a restaurant and you get a salad, you can tell it's from these guys. Anytime you're out here, hit up the crew. Spread is just great.
Sure, I'm here.
You mind if I do
Absolutely.
one of these?
Anything else?
A demi bag?
Demi?
Might be some wings. You got them.
All right.
Thank you very much. I got chicken wings. Most companies call it Taha, they just made it in the Central Market. Toum is what they do, which is like an aerated garlic for Middle Eastern cuisine. I plan on roasting a chicken this week. Perfect accompaniment to that. You all right?
Okay?
Yeah. Let's do a hummus, a toum, and a pita. Thank you. All right, let's go load this car up. So when you see something like this, peaches in season, you stop, you buy. My wife's gonna be real happy right now. That's it. Saturday morning, got a dinner to go do. You could go to a grocery store, you could do all that, but eating locally and seasonally, this is where it's at. Bobby, let's go pick a peppers.
You want to pick them now?
Sorry, I'm sweating like a goat. Pick a peck of. Should I not walk up? Should I walk up? Go pick a pack of pickled peppers.